It's gotta be something super new because it's episode 62 of the Switch It Up Show. Ladies and gentlemen, today I am your host, Seth Trav, joined as always by our friend Glenn.
How you doing today, Mr. Seth Trav?
I am feeling extra funky, my guy, because today we got two super cool, awesome reviews coming to you. One a little strange and one a little stranger, because it's the Switch It Up Show. You know what we do. Before we get into it and before I give it all away, naturally, we gotta let that beat ride. Hanamanaguchi, ladies and gentlemen, per usual. So, my guy, I was talking about the funk. What's one of the funkiest games you know?
The funk. So when you say funky, do you mean like, ugh, like that smells funky, that's gross, or like funky?
No,
like...
I mean like funky.
That's probably got to be like Pap Rappa, the Rappa?
Close, very close. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to say that today I am going to be reviewing ToeJam and Earl, Back in the Groove. The original funksters themselves from the planet Funkatron. They're back from, I think the last game they did was on the Xbox. It might have been Xbox 360. Heard nothing but terrible things about that one. I was a huge fan of it back on the Sega Genesis, and they're back in the groove for $19.99 on the Nintendo eShop, available March 1st. So, my guy, here is the entire description from them. ToeJam and Earl have crash landed back on Earth in ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove, a funky, fresh, roguelike adventure infused with old school hip hop and jam-packed with awesome throwbacks to the 1991 classic. Original funk lord and co-creator Greg Johnson is back at the helm with the sequel that ToeJam and Earl fans have been waiting for. The iconic 90s duo is back in the groove with all new presents to help them navigate this whack planet Earth and retrieve all the lost pieces to the Rap Master rocket. Team up for co-op play to discover secret locations, hidden presents, and new friends as you make your way through a constantly changing and unpredictable world. ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove is a mashup of the very best features of the classic console games with a ton of fresh improvements. Grab some homies and get ready for a blast of funky nostalgia as you help ToeJam and Earl return once again to Funkatron. So, it is, I believe, 25 levels. They are all roguelike. They are all procedurally generating, I want to say, because it all changes based on who you're playing, based on when you start it. To me, it seems like everything changes all the time, which very cool. I dig that. You get a map in your corner. You can take the map off, have a bigger just play screen. The thing that really won me over was the fact that you can get so many people online playing together at once. I believe they said you can get up to 6 people online. I didn't have the opportunity to do that myself, but that's huge. You also have 4-player like couch co-op. So again, huge deal to me that you can get together with all your friends, have a good funky time. Music wise, it's so good. It's awesome beats. If you like to just sit down, jam on some beats from perhaps say SoundCloud or your Apple Music or your Spotify, which you can now find us on. If you go over to www.preach.us, click the Spotify link there, and you'll be taken right to us.
As well as SoundCloud and Apple, and of course Apple Podcasts.
As well as all of those links are available at preach.us. Now, back to the game. The graphics, fun, awesome. It seems like something that I forget the guy's name, Bill K. It might have been the guy who made Rocko's Modern Life. It really seems like something that he would have drawn, or Ren and Stimpy, perhaps. So that's really cool. They do have some cutscenes which are fun. They establish what's going on. They show you the end, how they get back home, that cool funky nonsense. They also have throwbacks. They have unlockable characters, unlockable upgrades. The upgrades are really cool. I want to say again, it's another game where you actually do feel an upgrade as it happens. Each character has individual special powers. Like Big Earl can eat rancid food. Big Earl from the '90s can get like extra health for something else. ToeJam can swim further, I think from the '90s, something like that. Everybody's got unique things, which is very, very cool. They add Letitia in there. She's awesome. Um, the characters are really fun. The enemy types are a little lax. I feel like I wish there were more enemies. Also, cow and chicken. That's what I'm thinking of. Cow and chicken is a perfect example of this art style. That's what it is. If you remember cow and chicken,
A little
um,
rough around the edges then.
yeah, it is. It seems a little rough, but and you know what? That's actually what I kind of wanted to get into. The gameplay itself is a little rough. Um, it was kind of buggy for me, which can be solved from a patch, but there were a couple instances where it was like it seemed like the levels weren't loading up properly. I don't know what it was. Um, Overall, it's a very very simple game. Just because,
I will
just
say,
because.
I will say, sir, that as we're recording this now, this game, if I'm not mistaken, it doesn't come out for a while, right?
From when we're recording it, that's true. Yes,
Because I will, like, just to give them a fair shake for when this game does come out, plenty of time for that to be patched. We are very fortunate on this show that we are given, like, a nice sneak peek at a lot of these games. So hopefully this rough stuff you're talking about will get updated by the time it
absolutely.
comes
and
out.
and that was one of the things I had said back in one of our earlier reviews, which you can find on all those great links over at preach.us. It was Earth Atlantis, that shmup where you're in the sea. I had said that game could really use an update. It seemed a little buggy. Wouldn't you know it? 3 weeks later, they did patch it up really, really well. Um, so hopefully a patch or two comes out for ToeJam and Earl to fix up some of these issues, because that's really one of the only things that's drawing me back from this game. Um, it's very, 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 very simple. Okay, you literally walk around and you literally shake bushes. You shake bushes, you shake trees, you shake houses, and that's what you do. Um, they do a really nice job though of explaining sort of everything that's going to go on with the game, like what sort of enemies you can, which sort of people are enemies, which sort of wizards typically are your friendly humans. You got places to like buy food, stuff like that. Um, Kind of easy, I want to say though. It was pretty easy, which not necessarily a bad thing, especially for something that's roguelike. You could do it in a crazy mode where you only have like the one life and that's it. You die, you're done, game over, whole thing. Um, Tons of unlockables. That was a big plus to me too, because replayability in this and getting like achievements, trophies, things like that, they do give them to you in game, which the Switch unfortunately does not have a trophy system yet. And I love getting that stuff. I love my participation. I love my participation awards. Um, Aside from that, uh, there's no real way to attack people. Um, you can get tomatoes to throw at enemies, or you open up different presents that will help you defeat enemies. But other than that, you have to kind of run, find some daisies, and hide in the bushes. That's really it. You pull out a daisy and you wind up hiding there. Um, which it's roguelike. It's a unique element to the game. And as I recall it, ToeJam and Earl never really like fought people hard. You know what I mean? They were never like fighting. You always had to kind of avoid enemies, things like that, while you searched for different pieces of things. And that's exactly what you're doing here. Um, as a fan, a huge fan of the original things. My mother, actually, I told her when we got this game, she was like, "You asked for the original ToeJam and Earl when you were 3 years old, and no one knew what you were talking about. We thought you were making up words." We were like, "ToeJam Earl? What the hell is that? Crazy kid. I think we need to take you to the doctor." Um, so the fact that, and she was like, I really want to see you play this. I want to hear the music again because I remember the music. You used to play it all the time. So that to me more than anything made this game just so worth it to be able to sort of have that kind of conversation with my mother, and then to have her like sit down and look at it on the Switch with me and hear the music going and her being like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I remember this. They were so weird. I don't get it." That's fun stuff. But not looking at it from a nostalgic point of view, I don't know if everybody's going to have as much fun with it. Um, so I find myself in that sort of difficult position of giving it the score now. Is it nostalgia covered, or is it just as it is? Uh, so I'm going to tell you as is. I would probably give it like a 3.5. From nostalgia, I give it a solid 4. Solid 4. So even it out, 3.75 right now. Again, if they just clean up some of these little buggy things, which I'm sure they will patch up, because these dudes, especially on Twitter, have been amazing. I've been following them for a good minute, and they are always down to have a sweet combo. So get at them, let them know what you think of the game, let them know how much you love it, what you think they need to iron out, things like that. But for me, it's going to be an all-around 3.75.
My man, a blast from your past. It sounds like you really enjoyed ToeJam and Earl.
Dude, it was super funky for sure. Um, like I said, just this couple little things, but the price point is really where it needs to be, and it's a lot of fun to do it with other people. I got to play it with my girlfriend, a bunch of her friends, and that's really where it shines. Is sort of like this party walk around game.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Do you think if you could see into the future, do you think these updates are going to come through?
I think they will. I definitely do. If I could maybe get my palm read
Yes.
about it.
Well,
Mm.
Mr. Seth Trav, the Nintendo Switch is, it's a utility for the modern ages. It can do pretty much everything, including read your palm. And thanks to this wonderful game, game app maybe, called Palm Reading. It is $8.99 on the Nintendo eShop. Let me go ahead and hit you with a little bit of the synopsis. Palm Reading Premium is the most luxury and professional palmistry and cryology software out there, developed by Crazy Soft. You can use it to
Palmistry?
palmistry, Palmistry,
That's an
palmistry.
official word
Apparently, I mean, they're
in
using it.
Webster's.
I got news for you, Setrap. All words are made up, okay? So it doesn't really matter. Every single one of them. You can use it to analyze, read, and master your palm lines and palm fingers without knowing anything of hand reading, palm reading. They just put a slash in there. Understand yourself better with simple, quick, and entertaining image tests. Get analytics of your own palm or a friend's palm and reveal all its secrets and futures. This is no nonsense. It works. Test your left hand and you will see that you are. Period. That's it. The right hand will show you how you want to be seen by others. Palmistry can trace its roots back to India, Indian astrology, Chinese yang, and kitty palm reading app and Roma fortune tellers. Interesting. This is there. Let me tell you, this translation is perfect. This application uses simple, quick, and entertaining image tests to give you accurate results and dowsing of palm lines, palm fingers, and palm marks. All results are based on the information about the ancient art of palmistry and real-world tendencies. So Palm Reading Premium is $8.99 on the Nintendo eShop. We're keeping the streak alive with 0 gold coins for purchasing this one. And this is categorized under the category of lifestyle, party, utility, and education. Let me tell you kind of like how this works.
Lifestyle. Utility.
And education. Let me tell you kind of how this goes down. You basically get to set up different profiles within the game. That way multiple people can use it, so many palms can be read. And it specializes in palm lines, palm fingers, and palm extras. Basically, palm extras. Basically, like let's say you start off with like the basic palm line, like reading like the palm like you would imagine, and you probably have seen a fortune teller do in like the movies. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, for example.
I remember a lot of kids would do it. They'd read your palm and then they'd spit on your hand.
That's weird.
It'd be like, that's where your pool is.
You went to a weird school, Mr. Trav.
Nah, dude, that's what kids would do.
No, you're crazy.
You know, they'd be like, okay, so here's your mansion, here's your car, and right here is the pool.
Mean kids. Not my childhood. Nothing but
Not
the best.
your child.
But basically, what happens is you choose whichever one of these things you want. Once you go into it, it gives you, it basically helps you try to match up what lines are closest to your hand. You'll be presented almost what looks like a trading card, and there will be a hand on it with different examples of different lines. Like, let's say, for example, you're looking for the heart line. It'll be like, okay, it's in this general vicinity, and does it look like picture like A, B, C, or D? And you find out which one it looks like, and then you click on it. And then it says, okay, does it have any like inconsistencies within the line? Are there like, is there like a foot towards the end of it where it like splits? Are there any breaks in the line? Does it have any feathering on the line of like other wrinkles that go into it? And it's like, yes, no. And you're answering, and you're basically trying to lock down as detailed as like your hand is. It'll be like, does your line start at this point of your hand? And it'll start going on the left hand side across through your palm off to the right, and there'll be like 6 or 7 different like origin points where you can pick where your line starts, and then you get to pick the end point as well. Then you get to pick the degree of the curve. So it's really trying to like match down what this looks like. And then when you're done, it'll give you kind of just like a summary, almost what sounds very much like a like when you read your, not fortune, when you read your horoscope in like the newspaper. It gives you like a little bit paragraph, and then it breaks it down into like, it says, all right, like,
Is it vague and generalized, just like a horoscope?
I mean, yeah, because I mean that's how these things kind of work.
That's how they get you.
I mean, personally, like, I don't know, like, do I believe in like palm reading? I mean, I feel like there's somebody out there that could do it. I feel like it might not totally be fake. I feel like maybe somebody has that gift, but it's not on the Nintendo eShop for $8.99.
Okay.
That being said, if given any opportunity, I would never have my palm read. It would creep me out too much. Couldn't do it. Not by like, I wouldn't actually like, if somebody was like just doing it like as like a joke, maybe I'd do it. But I would never go into like an astrology place and be like, read my palm. It would creep me out too much. I wouldn't be able to have it done.
No.
But if you've had your palm read, let us know over on Twitter at Switch It Up Show. Tell us what it was like. But if you haven't had your palm read and you're looking to have your palm read, or your finger palm, as they call it, like your fingerprints, because they do that as well, you can, thanks to Palm Reading Premium, for $8.99. This is a hard one to break down, Mr. Setrap, because there's no game.
I feel
there's
like
no
them
game here.
scanning your fingerprint and your palm print, it's all a work. And they're just trying to like put it in the database with the 10-year photo challenge, all of that. It's just like big government sitting back being like,
the 10-year photo challenge though for like facial recognition, if that's real, that's genius.
100%.
But
there's no way that as soon as they said that, people who are working on facial recognition weren't like, oh yeah,
bingo, yeah.
They were like, well, cool. If they weren't already doing it,
they're doing
like,
it now.
Now I am.
Absolutely. But this like, this is because there's no scanning of it. That would actually be cooler if it did like scan your hand or something like that. I don't know. This is hard because this isn't a game. They classify it as a utility, and as a utility, it does what it sets out to do. It walks you through like how to do it. Like, I was able to, like, as I was reading my own palm, I was like, okay, I see what they're talking about. Like, I was able to reference it. It was usable. It wasn't like it was horrible. Like, I couldn't figure it out. I was able to go through the steps, and they were pretty thorough. Like, they ask you like a lot of follow-up questions, and I guess they give you a good idea of what an actual fortune teller is looking for when they're telling your fortune. I mean, is it fun? If you were playing this like in a group setting, it might be a good time, but I mean, to just sit down and like play, like, I'm never gonna like hop into bed and be like, all right, time to read my like third finger palm. Like,
right.
Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Talk to me when they bring in the Ouija board.
Yo, that's what I want.
The digital Ouija
That's what
board.
I want.
You gotta register your pressure.
Oh my god, you have to like hold the Joy-Cons and everyone's that'd be so good. Palm reading, $8.99. This is, I mean, it accomplishes what it sets out to do. It's a 2.5. It doesn't, this game did not offend me. I didn't feel like it wasted my time. That being said, would I go back and play it again? No, I probably would not. But it's cool that this stuff is like out there, because you really do get pretty much every type of game, on the Nintendo Switch. There's so many indie titles.
Really.
So just the fact that this is out there, like, maybe if you're doing something like, maybe if you're having like a Halloween party or something like that, and you want to be like, creepy, this might be fun. But aside from that, palm reading premium, $8.99, 2.5.
All right, that was pretty good. Especially for a Switch It Up show when it's all new because it was episode 62. From me, I'm at Seth Trav. He's our friend Glenn. He's at From the Crib. Together, we are at Switch It Up show and at Preachcast on the Twitters and the Instas and the other social media platforms that possibly exist. Be sure to rate, like, subscribe, follow, do all the best things. And remember, if things ever start to get boring, all you gotta do is switch it up.